Yo, what is up, guys? Insight Gaming here, and today we're going to be going over 5 things you should know about Stellar Blade before you should buy it. And I've got to play about 2 hours of this game so far, and from what I've gathered during that playtime, there's going to be a few things that will make or break this game being for you or not. So without further ado, let's get into talking about some Stellar Blade. Starting with number 5, which is probably going to be the most important factor when considering if you want to play a game like this or not, the combat, which I can tell you that people are either going to love or hate because this game leans heavily into blocking, parrying, and dodging, more so than I've ever experienced in a game before. But more onto that in a second. Let's lay the foundation first. Starting with basic attacks, square and triangle are going to be your home for combos, and hitting and holding combinations of these will allow Eve to perform various flashy attacks in between enemy onslaughts, and trust me, there's going to be a lot of enemy onslaughts. Damn it. And basic attacks also charge beta energy, which are used to unleash beta skills. Who would have thought that? And these are assigned in the bottom right of the screen and are executed by holding L1 and hitting the corresponding button to the attack you want to do. But the other side of that coin is going to be the biggest focus of combat, which are defensive skills. And these come in 4 different flavors and definitely take some time to get used to. The first 2 are straightforward and won't be new to anyone who's played games like this before, which is the ability to parry/deflect attacks as well as dodge out of the way, with perfect parries breaking enemies' balance, similar to breaking posture in Sekiro, while perfect dodges can also be followed up with lunging attacks. But they also decided to expand upon these dodging mechanics, with the first one being Blink, which can be used against blue highlighted enemy attacks and accomplished by hitting up on the left analog stick and pressing circle, with the second one being called Repulse, which is used against the pinkish purplish colored enemy attacks and accomplished by pressing down on the left analog stick while also pressing circle. And I will say that once you get into the flow of combat, this can be really fun, but there will be aggravating moments, I assure you, and that is because of reason number 4, bosses. Come on. No! Oh! This reminds me of the challenges when playing Lies of P. Like, the enemy feels beatable. It feels beatable. All of which we got to play were amazing in design and difficulty. The first one you encounter was Brute, and the name was fitting because this SOB had 2 wrecking balls for hands, of which he used liberally against me. Oh yeah, he's got the temp. Oh God, okay. Tempo's weird. The next boss you fought was Badon, and this thing was an excellent example of the tone this game sets for boss fights. Ranged attacks, somewhat predictable attack patterns, and even a second phase where everything speeds up a notch to throw the player off their balance, and trust me, that's exactly what happened to me more than a few times. And the final monstrosity you got to fight during this demo was Stalker, and this took everything Badon did and dialed it up to 10, and really teaches a player the importance of learning the mechanics of the game. There we go. Get frickin' wrecked. Now, for number 3, let's talk about cosmetics and upgrades. Now, Stellar Blade offers several different outfits that you can unlock while you make your way through the game, none of which will affect combat, or at least that remains to be seen. But one thing that does change combat is Eve's exospines. And these will give stat and gameplay changes like receiving less damage and increased regen health for the protection type exospine, increased attack power, crit damage, and crit rates for the chain type exospine, and if you love being flashy, the reflex type exospine gives you a faster shield regen on top of making it easier to perfect dodge and perfect parry. And there's also a slew of other items you can equip to Eve, giving room for different builds overall. Now for number 2, this is going to be about the visuals of the game, and since this is a PS5 exclusive, they didn't have to worry about porting it over to PC or Xbox and it working optimally over there. And I will say that I think because of that, this game handled really well throughout its playthrough. First impressions, feels pretty clean. Also looks really good. This is definitely higher than 30 FPS. But I did experience a teeny bit of screen tearing here and there, but nothing that really ruined the game, and this was a demo version of the game, which means they're probably still working on the polish for its final release. There's some screen tearing there just now. I don't know if you guys saw that.
This isn't looking good.
But the good news is that there is a graphics mode setting where you can switch between prioritizing performance, resolution, or a balance of both, which I found to be the best setting overall. And the last thing that we're going to touch on is the skill trees. And if you've ever played a game like this before, you know that this is where you get all of your goodies to take into combat and have your way with enemies. Now, in the demo, we had access to 3 of the 5 skill trees, with the first one being the beta tree. And this is where you get those beta skills we mentioned earlier, as well as leveling those and making them stronger. Then there's your attack skill tree where you unlock new weapon combos, and finally your survival skill tree where you unlock blink and repulse, as well as other things like negating fall damage, getting up faster after you get knocked down, and so on. I mean, overall impressions of the game, guys, I think a lot of people are going to like this. If you liked games like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, Sekiro, Nier Automata, or however you say that, I think this is going to be right up your alley. I know I'm getting the deluxe edition. I want all of the content for this. My favorite games are the ones that you can just plow through, pun intended, and just be done with it after you beat it. Pun intended again. It also looks like there's going to be some semi-open world environments for people who like to go exploring a little bit, but ultimately want to stay on the beaten path, and I'm all for it. Definitely have high hopes for Stellar Blade being an awesome new single-player experience for players and a new IP for PlayStation. Also, there is a ton of awesome reviews on this game from people playing the demo. I think there's like 30,000 so far, which if you guys have not gotten a chance to play this game, definitely give it a try. It's on the PS Store right now. And if you guys have made it this far into the video, drop a like. It helps out a ton. And if you have any questions about this game, feel free to drop those in the comments. I love chatting with you all. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll do this again really soon.